Hello and welcome to the Daily Mill for Wednesday the 2nd of July 2025. We have a jam-packed video today, lots of Millwall news of various types that I'm sure will excite and titillate you somewhat. The main story of the day, though, is George Evans has finally found the pen to sign that contract. He has signed the deal. This is from millfc.co.uk. Confirmed. George Evans signs long-term Millwall contract. Millwall Football Club is delighted to announce that George Evans has signed a new long-term contract at the Den. The 20-year-old goalkeeper is now set to stay in SC16 for the foreseeable future. Evans, following a period in the Lions under-21s and loan spells at the likes of Sutton United, was thrust into the limelight at the back end of 24-25, making his Millwall, EFL and Sky Bet Championship debut at Blackburn Rovers on Good Friday. 3 more appearances against Norwich City, Swansea City and Burnley were to follow, with the stopper earning praise for his performances in a pressured situation as a top 6 place was still up for grabs. The young goalkeeper will continue to provide competition in the department, with new signing Mats Kokom and Lucas Jensen, currently recovering from a long-term injury, also part of the Lions 25-26 setup. Evans will wear the shirt number 41 during the upcoming campaign. So there you go, done and dusted. It was never in doubt. They were just looking for a pen to get the deal signed. So there you go. Stop worrying about it. We got 2 goalkeepers now. Well, 3. One's injured, but we've got 2 that can play. And they seem to be looking for another one. So we may be getting another goalkeeper. Now, talking of signings, Charlton have signed that player. Isaac Olaofe, former Millwall youngster. Did play for the Mills first team. And then he left. He went to Stockport. They paid a small fee for him. And he's done pretty well for himself, It's good to see, Obviously, a lot of people think that the purpose of the youth team is to provide players for Millwall's first team, and that is one of the objectives and aims, but it's not the only one. And it's good to see that you have now like a stable of players going out into the footballing world and proving themselves and doing quite well for themselves, making a living out of football, which it's not always the case. It's a very competitive environment, and we've now got players that have been released from our under-21s that are competing, and they're doing quite well. And Isaac Olaofe was one of them. Scored a lot of goals in League 2 2 seasons ago. Scored quite a few goals in League 1 last season as Stockport got into the playoffs. And that's earned him a move to the bright lights of Charlton Athletic. But we got this news today. I told you about this signing. The signing has been confirmed today. We were apparently supposed to be getting about 40 to 45% sell-on fee. However, that is not the case, and we're going to go through why that's not the case. This is from footballleagueworld.co.uk. So Mill to miss out on significant financial gains from Charlton Athletic and Stockport County deal. So why is that? The 25-year-old forward is back in the Championship 2.5 years on from leaving the Den to pursue a permanent journey with Stockport. They here helped the Atters reach the League 2 playoff final before helping them win the 4th tier and finish the 23-24 campaign as their leading scorer, before helping to push County up to 3rd in League 1 in their first season back in the division. A loss in the playoff semi-final to Leyton Orient prevented Stockport from overcoming their recent playoff woes. And they lost on penalties, by the way. It was quite close. But their star forward has now gone and joined the club that went on to win promotion to the Championship at Wembley. So what's going on with Millwall? So, it was reported over the weekend that Nathan Jones' side were nearing completion of a £1.5 million move for Olaofe as per Alan Dixon, and that has been confirmed today. He moved to Edgeley Park from Bermondsey in January 2023 as part of a £200,000 deal that also included a clause that entitled Millwall to 45% of the profit made from any future sale of the striker. So, Olaofe's move to the Valley means that Stockport will make a reported £1.3 million profit on him, but the Lions won't get as much money as they once thought as a result of the 25-year-old switch. Stockport reporter, so this is coming from the Stockport side, Stockport reporter Sam Byrne has said that Millwall's 45% sell-on clause was in place, but County have managed to negotiate with them to bring that number down significantly. And here we go. Will this come up? No, I don't think it's going to. It just says fairly significant reduction. Okay. So, yeah. So, fairly significant reduction. Is it halved? Is it 20%? Now, had the percentage remained the same, the Lions would have stood to earn £585,000 from this deal between the Hats and the Alex, which is not bad for being a third party that has nothing to do with it. And now it is County who hold the significant sell-on clause as per Byrne, with 40% of any future profits made by Charlton from Olaofe set to head their way. Well, that's a bit cheeky. If you've negotiated your sell-on clause that's applying to you down, but then you've added the same one on to Charlton. I'm not sure about that. So what's gone on here? What's gone on? A lot of people don't understand, like, why would the club do that? Why would they do that? Well, he's in his last year. I believe he's in the last year of his contract at the moment. So he's going to be out of contract next summer. So that means you sell him in this window, or you don't sell him at all. Because if you get to January window, he's going to have 5 months left in his contract. You ain't getting nothing. You ain't getting $1 million for him if he's going to be out of contract in 5 months. So I imagine an offer was made to Stockport. They listened to the offer, and then they did the maths and figured, well, after Mill's sell-on clause, we're not going to make that much money, and we need to spend money to replace him with someone who's good enough, as good as he is, or even better. So it's not really worth us selling him now for the money that we're going to get from him. We might as well just keep him for another year and let his contract run out next summer. So they may have said, well, what if we ask Mill to take less of a percentage? So they've gone to Mill and said, look, here's the situation. His contract's up in a year. We've got an offer. But, we ain't going to take it because the sell-on clause doesn't make it worth our while. Is there any chance you could reduce your sell-on clause? Because if you don't, we're not going to do the deal and you won't get anything. So, that's the situation. Someone went to Mill and said, look, we've got this offer. We ain't going to take it because the sell-on clause is too high. So if you reduce your sell-on clause, we will take it and you'll get something. So something's better than nothing. So again, not the massive amount, the £585,000 that we thought it was going to be. Again, is it half of that? Go from 40% to 20%. So what, 250k? I don't know, but bit cheeky of them to then put a 40% on in the thing. Or maybe if they've given some of that to Millwall for the future. So maybe it's 40%, but 10% of that is with Millwall again. I don't know, but we'll see about that. I don't know. So yeah, that's news today. Now, this is exciting. This is from the 72.co.uk. Right, what's going on here? Hull City keen on 27-year-old striker. Millwall also interested. So obviously, how interested are Millwall? Or have you just added Mill's name to this story to get more clicks? They always do that. They put up a player name. They put up this club's interested in him. And then they say, oh, Preston, Middlesbrough and Millwall also interested in him. For some reason, it's always Middlesbrough and Millwall. But, But here's the thing where we might be interested, because the player is from Sparta Rotterdam, and you may remember we've just signed a player from Sparta Rotterdam. His name's Kamil Negli. So here's the thing: the player, the striker that Kamil Negli was crossing balls into, is Tobias Lauritsen. And here we go. So Hull City are interested in Sparta Rotterdam striker Tobias Lauritsen, along with Millwall, as per a report by Soccer News. Who are they? Ain't got a fucking clue. Hull City are being linked with a move for the attacker this summer, and they're in the hunt for some new signings. So I think it's going to be mainly about Hull. Now, Lauritsen, 27, has been a key player for Sparta Rotterdam over the last 3 years. He scored 38 goals in 102 games in all competitions. In this latest news regarding his situation, Soccer News reports the Tigers and the Lions are eyeing a swoop. Oxford United have also been mentioned as potential suitors, as well as Jubilo Iwato in Japan. Well, sayonara. Hull City boss has said we've been struggling with strikers because we've just had 6 goals from our ex-striker and wingers, but because of the injuries we struggled. Well, yeah, they want to score more goals. We need to score more goals. Our goal scoring is one of the third, fourth worst in the league, so we need to improve that. So then they got a quote from the Hull manager. So where's the actual Millwall link? He's Norwegian, by the way. He's not a Netherlander. It's just talking about Hull. There's okay. Yeah, it's literally they just throw Mill's name in there, and there's nothing other than that about Millwall. So, who is this guy from? Never heard of him. Must be shit, eh? You never heard of him. Apparently, there's 2 footballers called Tobias Lauritsen. So hopefully we're getting the right one. There's a Norwegian footballer, which is the one we're talking about, and there's a Danish footballer called Tobias Lauritsen, who is younger. So maybe, I don't know. He plays as a striker for Eredivisie side Sparta Rotterdam. His birthday is the 30th of August, so at the moment he's 27, but, very soon he's going to be 28. That's not really what we're doing. There's not much sell-on clause there. But, if the deal is available, maybe we bring him in. This is Wikipedia, by the way, if you don't know. So what we're going to do. So here we go. So on 21st of June 2022, Lauritsen signed a 3-year contract with Dutch club Sparta Rotterdam that came into effect at the end of July 2022. Right. So quick math, 22, 23, 24, 25. Unless he signed a contract extension, is he not out of contract? That's 3-year deal. It is now 3 years. How, is he not out of contract? Maybe he signed an extension to get more wages. They do. They do that kind of thing. But you can see, so he had a blinder, 2016-17, for playing for Paws. But we'll go down here because this is, again, a player who has worked his way up. He's put in the hard yards. He's worked his way up. He's now 28, and this is it now. This is the big move coming up. You shit or you get off the pot. He's done the hard work. He's put in the effort. He's worked his way up. And this is probably his last chance of a decent payday. So where's he going to go and where's he going to get it? Is he going to get it from Millwall? Or is he going to get it from someone else? He starts out playing in the Norwegian 3rd Division. Didn't even know they had a 3rd Division for Eredivisie. So I would imagine Norwegian 3rd. That's got to be like part time, innit? It's got to be semi-pro, or probably fully amateur. By the way, 3rd Division in Norway. And then he plays for that team there. How do you pronounce that? I ain't got a fucking clue. I'm gonna say Uriad. Again in Norwegian 3rd Division. 4 goals in 9 games. Why not? then 1 goal in 11 games in the season after. He goes to Odd in the Eliteserien, which is the top division of Norway. Doesn't play, so it looks like they sign him, maybe put him in the youth teams, etc., etc. Doesn't make a first team appearance except for in a cup game, one cup game. Plays one cup game, scores 1 goal. Why not? But he doesn't play in the Norwegian Premier League. But he's there for 3 seasons. Kind of odd. Don't know if they loan him out. It doesn't seem to be, because this goes from 2016 to 2016. So now he goes to the Norwegian second division for Pors Grenland. Scores 1 goal in 3 games. 2017. Guy's on fire. Don't know what's happened. Boom. Bosh. What's happening here? He's gone insane. He scored 32 goals in 26 games. And that's just in the league. Overall it's 33 and 28. He scored more goals than he's played games. He's gone insane. That gets him. So maybe this is a loan. Oh, maybe this is a loan, because he's gone back to Odd. So I don't know if Pause might have been a loan. Nah. Oh, he was injured. Alright. Okay. So I think he was injured in this season here. I think I don't think this is a loan. I think he left, but then they signed him back again. Odd. He scores 1. He plays in the top division in Norway, the Norwegian Premier League. 1 goal in 18, 0 in 21. Oh, let's look on the right hand side where it adds up the cup games. 8 goals in 22, 6 goals in 27, 3 in 20, 9 in 32, 6 in 17. So he does well in the lower. He's on fire in the Norwegian third division. He goes up to the Norwegian Premier League. He does okay. He's not setting the world on fire. But then he moves from Odd to the Eredivisie. So he crosses the sea, goes to the Netherlands, and plays for Rotterdam. Sparta Rotterdam. This is Sparta. And in the first season in the Eredivisie, he plays 36 games, scores 14 goals. Season after that, he scores 13 in 33. The season that's just finished, 24-25, obviously we stole Negley off them in January, so he's probably missed, but he's got 10 in 33. So he's playing a lot of games, so it doesn't seem to be any injury concerns anymore. But he's putting up numbers that are reminiscent of... These are the kind of numbers that Zion Fleming was putting up in the Eredivisie when he was playing for Fortuna Sittard. So, and look how well that worked out. Now, obviously, he's older. He's 28. Fleming, what was Fleming, 24 at the time when we signed him? So, yeah. This is who this guy is. Now, let's have a look at this. This is from fbref.com. Again, hopefully, I think this is the right one. He's Norwegian. The other one's Danish. He's 6'3". Why would we be interested in a 6'3" forward? We've already just signed Coburn. We've got Ivanovic. What does that mean? Now, does it mean Ivanovic is leaving? Now, I would imagine Ivanovic, he's going to have to leave soon when we get a right offer, not the 4 million from Everton that's being banded around, but when we get 10 million, 12 million, and the rest, 15 million, if he has a blinder next season. So maybe this is the guy's replacement for Ivanovic before Ivanovic leaves. Maybe, we do have Langstaff, we do have Nisbet. Langstaff hasn't really worked out. He's tried, fair play. He's given it a go. Nisbet, he not really working out for him, but that was under a different manager. He's back now under Alex Neils. Maybe we can get something out of him. Maybe you can get a tune out of him. I don't know. Or maybe, he's going to leave. So let's say Nisbet does leave. Let's say Langstaff, they try and loan him to League One team. So he can do something in League One, because that's obviously going to be a step up from League Two where we got him from. So then that would make sense that we would bring this guy in, especially if a deal can be done at a decent rate. And he played with Negley at Sparta Rotterdam. So let's have a look at so now here we go. Look on the right hand side. Similar players to Tobias Lauritsen the last 365 days. What do you notice? One of the players is Kiefer Moore, the perennial Kiefer Moore, who we're always linked with, but we never sign, and apparently he has turned us down numerous times. He is the Norwegian version of Kiefer Moore. And also Colby Bishop. I'm not sure. I think we may have been linked with Colby Bishop maybe once. So this is who he plays like. And they do that by, if you look on the left hand side, this is his scouting report. This is him versus other forwards just over the last year. And you can see he has 3 shots per 90 minutes, which is very good. It's in the 84th percentile. That's very good. Shot creating actions per game, 2.29. Passes attempted, that's high. Progressive passes, that's high. Touches in the attacking penalty area, 5 per game, that's 67th percentile. Aerials won, 7.58 aerials won per game. He is one of the best aerial players in the world, according to this website, fbref.com. He's in the 99th percentile, which means he's in the top 1% of aerials won of footballers. And you can see at the bottom, the conditions are players compared to positional peers in men's next 14 competitions over the last year. So if you take out the top 5 leagues, that they have what's called the next 14 competitions. And he is one of the best. The league that we play in, the Championship, is one of the next 14 competitions. Okay? So is the Eredivisie. That's it. Here's his career that we've just gone through on Wikipedia. So yeah, if we go over here, 0.33 goals per 90 minutes. So he scores 1 goal every 3 games. And you can see, look, his minutes have just been going up and up and up, and he's been getting more and more goals. And he's gone from, the Norwegian top division to the Netherlands top division, and he's just keeps scoring goals. But here's the thing, he's scoring goals, but Sparta Rotterdam have gone from finishing 6th to finishing 8th, and last season they finished 12th. And you think, well, that's not bad, mid-table. No, they've got like 16 teams in the division. They were like 2 places above the relegation zone. So, yeah, it's not looking too good for them. You can see all the stuff. So shots on target percentage, that's not too good, 35%. So he does take a lot of shots. So he's very prolific with his shots, but he just, like, if he misses, he misses. Yeah. So you could say he's probably a little bit wasteful, but he does. I would imagine a lot of his shots in quotes, are headers, because the guy's fucking 6'4", and he wins aerial duels. So he isn't much like Jake Cooper at a corner. You don't know where the ball's going to go. Is it going to go towards the goal, to the left of the goal, to the right of the goal, over the crossbar? And that's even if he gets his head on it, and if he doesn't get molested while he's going for the ball. So you've got all the stats here. I'm not going to go through these ones, but this is the full scouting report here. So as you can see, his goals per 90, it's okay. Penalty kicks made, 0.07 per game per 90 minutes. So he seems to have made every penalty kick that he's attempted, because it's the same. Yellow cards seems to be quite high. Again, the green bar, but if it's a bad stat, you probably don't want a green bar. Again, look, shots per 90 minutes, 3 shots per 90 minutes, which is high. Shots on target, 1.1. So for every 3 shots he has, 2 of them are off target, 1's on target. Average shot distance, 12 yards. So yeah, that's from around about the penalty spot, isn't it? Passes completed. Passes attempted 21 per game. Completed 12 per game. Percentage of 58.2, which is quite low compared to other forwards, but again, he's a target man. Pass completion percentage for long balls, 71.4%. Passes attempted, live ball passes. So what that seems to suggest to me, he's a big man. He's got good feet for a big man, is the phrase that they say. Shot creating actions. Basically, if you don't know what shot creating action is, you've got the assist, you've got the goal. You go back one movement, that's the assist. Go back one movement more, that's a shot creating action. You got the pass that leads to the assist that leads to the goal. He's quite high in that, so he helps set up movements and stuff. Not very good at tackling, it seems. Yep. But again, this is compared to other forwards. So very good at clearances, you would imagine. So again, in terms of aerial threats from set pieces against us, he's very good at defending from that. What have we got here? Possession stats, successful take-on percentage. He tries to dribble past players 0.63 times per game, and half of that's successful, which isn't that much because he's a target man, but the percentage is bloody high. Again, dribbling with the ball, not that much. 11, I think that's 11 yards per game. So not that high. Miscontrols, that's high. That's not good. Dispossessed, again, that's high as well. That's not good. Yellow cards is high, which is not good. Fouls committed, fouls drawn is high. Again, fouls drawn, fouls committed. We know about Jake Cooper at corners. But here we go. Aerials won per game, 7.58. Percentage of aerials won, 59.7, which you only win 60% of your aerial. That's still 95% better than everyone else. He's in the 95th percentile. So, again, this guy seems pretty good. So let's have a look and see some more stuff. This is from WhoScored.com. This is the Eredivisie player statistics for last season. So these are the best players because it's by rating. It's sorted by rating. The best player was Malik Tillman, who was an American, 7.69 rating. He scored 12 goals in 22 games. We don't have to go far down to see our boy Tobias Lauritsen. He is equal on points with Ivan Perisic, the famous Croatian who's played in numerous World Cups. 7.21. Tobias Lauritsen got the same rating, so he's the 6th best player in the Eredivisie, according to WhoScored.com. He got 5 man of the matches last season. Again, aerials won. So let's have a look, because we can sort. So he scored 10 goals. Where does that go in the Eredivisie? So it looks like he's a joint 10th. Joint 10th top scorer. Not bad. Assists. How many assists did he get, by the way? I didn't even see that first time round. He didn't get that many, so he's not going to be top. But shots per game, that's quite high. Number 3, joint 2. 2.9 shots per game. He's up there. That's not going to be there. Aerials 1. Obviously, you imagine, the Netherlands, the home of sexy football, Ajax and all of that, passing it around, Johan Cruyff. I imagine pumping it up to the big man is not going to be very popular there. So, I would imagine he's going to be probably top of the table, no? Yes, he is, by a long shot. He's played 32 games. He's got 7.1 aerials won per game. The number 2 in the Eredivisie League last season was a central defender with 4.9 aerials won per game. So there you go. This guy is a very good player in the Eredivisie. Very good, the 6th best player. So this guy you've never heard of, he's pretty fucking good. Like, if this is who we're trying to sign, I mean, how does he even get in a team? You got Coburn, you got Ivanovic. If we get this guy, what happens to the youngsters? Do the youngsters go out on loan? Does AJ Matthews go out on loan? Zach Lovelace go out on loan? Maybe that's the plan. Maybe they've already decided, like, these players are going to go out on loan, so we need another striker in. Or maybe they are genuinely trying to win the league, or trying to at least get in the playoffs, and they want to get 3 good strikers, which is, you know, Coburn's proved himself in this league, Ivanovic has proven himself in this league, this guy's proved himself in the Norwegian 3rd Division and in Eredivisie over the past 3 years, and he's putting up stats that Zion Fleming was putting up, similar to before he came to us. Now, obviously, different players. This guy's like a target man, but man, this guy's pretty good. This guy's pretty good. And again, the thing with the contract, is he out of contract or not? Like, the Wikipedia doesn't say he's extended his contract. He signed a 3-year deal. If he's out of contract and we can get him on a free, I mean, man, this is going to be some signing. So this is his page here. Yeah, this is last season, as we said. He's got a rating of 7.21 from WhoScored.com. 5 man of the match just means he's got the highest rating in the game. Again, like the shots per game, the aerials won. It's all good stuff. Is this going to load? Probably not. No, it does load. Okay, clearances 1.2 per game. That's what he does. He clears set pieces. Offensive stuff that he does. Key passes per game 1. Offsides only 0.5 per game. Unscheduled touches 2 per game. That's quite high. Passing stuff, not really anything there. So yeah, you can see here, started 32 games, was a sub in 1, and that took his rating down by a notch, because in games he started is 7.24. Strengths, aerial duels, yeah, no fucking shit. He's the best player in Eredivisie. Weaknesses, passing and defensive contribution. Well, you know, he likes to do flick-ons, likes to play short passes, likes to do layoffs, does not dive into tackles. Man, this guy sounds very good, doesn't he? So these are the matches that he's played last season, but we'll get that on another page from WhoScored.com. So this is going back in August. Yeah, look at the ratings he's getting. 8.64, scores a goal, gets man of the match against FC Twente. Scores against Feyenoord, gets an assist in a 1-1 draw. Scores against, only plays 41 minutes, scores against PSV. Now, if you don't know, PSV absolutely ran the Eredivisie last season. They scored 103 goals as they romped home to win the title. He scored a goal against them and got a 7.33 rating. They did lose 2-1, but I mean, fucking hell, he can't do it all himself, can he? Gets a 7.07 rating, and the next game plays 90 minutes, but they lost 2-0. So even when they lose, he's playing well. A game here, plays 70 minutes, scores. Yeah, and bloody hell, I don't know what happened in March. He was absolutely on fire. 3 man of the matches in a row. In a win and 2 draws. Scores 2 goals in 1 game. 9.77 rating. That's out of 10, by the way. An assist in the game after that, 8.3 rating, and then gets man of the match and scores a goal against PFC Swal, 7.68 rating. So yeah, I should say this guy looks pretty fucking good to me. So yeah, there you go. Yeah, that's it. So, I mean, Again, but here's the thing though. When they say, oh, Hull are looking at him, but then they add Millwall to it, are we really looking at him? The only thing that would give me a little bit of pause to think that we might be looking at him is because he's from Sparta Rotterdam, and obviously he played with Kamil Negli, he knows Kamil Negli, may even have the same agent, I don't know, but interesting stuff. You would imagine, if Nisbet is leaving, if Langstaff is leaving or going out on loan, we're signing this guy. Maybe. And then, we have Femi Aziz, we've got Amaku, we've got Kamil Negli, we've got Bangor Williams, all of these, we've got Leonard, all these players pinging balls in, and we're going to have 3 target men. We're going to have Coburn, Ivanovic and Lauritsen. So can you imagine if we're losing a game and we're chasing it, and we bring on there's 3 target men on the pitch? It's going to be insane. Can you imagine trying to defend against 3 target men in the same game? Absolutely fucking insane. And when was the last time we had a decent target? Danny Dichio, Paul Moody. I mean, when we do it and we do it right, it does work out well, So yeah, we'll see how that works out. But the fact that their target men who can also, this guy is good with his feet. He likes to lay the ball off, do flick-ons and stuff like that. Obviously playing in the Eredivisie, so he must be picking up a thing or two. So there you go. Now moving on to this interview by Alex Neils on millfc.co.uk, being written up by the southernnews.co.uk, who obviously publish on a Thursday. If you see it when you're out and about in your Tesco Extra, in your Morrison's, in your local news agents, do pick up a copy, because they are the only paper left, independent voice of the borough of Southwark. If they go away, what else have we got? What have we got? You've got me. That's it. Do you want just me? No, you don't. Mill boss sets out timeline for Danny McNamara return and gives update on Lucas Jensen. Yeah, we did see Danny McNamara in the photos, but that was on day 1. And in day 1, they were getting their measurements, and they were in the gym. So, that he has to build himself up, and then they'll let him go out and play football on the grass. So Danny McNamara could be back playing football in 3 to 4 months. Blimey! Whoa, that's a long time. Mill boss Alex Neils told News at End. No wonder they're trying to sign a right back. The 26-year-old fullback suffered a serious knee injury shortly after being substituted on against Cardiff City on January 21st, and has been ruled out since following surgery on his left leg. Neil confirmed that Danny McNamara was back in training as pre-season kicked off last Thursday. So he's back in training, and he's still going to take him 3 months to get back. My goodness. Oh, Danny Mac is back on the grass, Neil told us then. So he's doing straight line stuff. The true test for your knee is that you can't rush it, when you get some sort of cruciate or medial ligament injury. The difficulty you've got there is that a specific time frame that generally allows you to then come back and be injury free. Beyond that, if you try and rush that process, sometimes there's a weakness within the knee that's not fully strengthened or fully healed by that point. So he'll stick to the time frame, which I believe is about 3 to 4 months from now. But he's made good progress, so it's not as if he's not working. He's doing all his gym work, and he's out in the grass doing his straight line stuff so he can get his aerobic capacity up. Yeah, the thing with a knee is you don't want to twist and turn. You do, so he's basically running in straight lines. If he stops and, has to do sideways movement, that's when it can be a bit, oh no, yeah, let's not do that. It's just a case of making sure we follow the process and he ticks those bits off. The last thing we want is a recurring injury. Lucas Jensen is another long-term absence for the Lions. A Danish keeper ruptured his Achilles in training shortly before Millwall's clash with Blackburn Rovers on April the 18th, and was ruled out for an indefinite period of time. When asked if he hopes to have Jensen back before the end of the upcoming season, Neil said, "I'd like to think so. He's had his surgery, so that was a complete success. But then again, it's not something you want to rush. So if you try and rush that injury, the likelihood is you're going to break him back down again. And we don't want that, do we, by the way? Absolutely not." That was part 1. Part 2, here we go, southernnews.co.uk. Alex Neils provides injury update as Mill head into pre-season and outlines progress of Zach Lovelace and Benicio Baker. Alex Neils has provided an update on the players who missed the final stretch of last season through injury as Mill head into the start of pre-season. Rahis Bangor-Williams, Camille Negley, Zach Lovelace and Benicio Baker were all ruled out for several months, while Joe Bryan and Billy Mitchell missed the last 3 and 2 games of the season respectively with short-term knocks. Lucas Jensen and Danny McNamara both sustained long-term injuries and are expected to miss time next season, although McNamara is likely to return sooner. We've just covered that in a previous story. Neil confirmed that most of the squad is ready for pre-season, though a few players remain short of full fitness. Zach is still obviously recovering, but he's on the grass now, so he's doing some runs, he's doing some technical work, but he's just probably a little bit behind the others, purely because of his injury, Neil told us then. Camille's taken part fully, Reese has taken part fully, and we've got through the first 2 days, touch wood, with no adverse effects to anybody, just tiredness, muscle tightness. Lovelace is yet to make an appearance in the second spell with the Lions, having undergone knee surgery shortly after rejoining from the Rangers on the final day of the January transfer window. Yeah, that was a great signing, that was, wasn't it? You sign a player and he immediately gets injured. Neil is keen to manage his recovery carefully. Zach, if you look at him right over the last 3 seasons, his injury record has not been particularly good, which means we need to be careful with him. So we need to make sure we build him up in a manner which allows him to stay fit. If you look at Edomo, Edomo's record was very similar. He never picked up another injury from when he came back, because the way I dealt with him in terms of dipping him into the team, dipping him out, maybe changing his work schedule a little bit. And Zach Lovelace will be in a similar sort of bracket to that. We need to work him up to the point where he's robust enough that he can then sustain the workload that we need to put him through. Baker, who joined from Brighton in January, has also yet to make a first-team squad after being diagnosed with a pubic symphysis injury. The 21-year-old winger has made a couple of appearances for the under-21s. Well, he's probably in a similar situation to Zach in the fact that he's still a little bit behind the other lads, Neil said. But he's getting through a lot of his work. It's just not quite sure. It's not just quite where the lads are just now. So he'll take a little bit more time. So there you go, same old Millwall, we have these players who keep getting injured. So Alex Neils was like, maybe we should stop doing that. Maybe we should kind of not push them too hard and too fast. Maybe that'll work. Amazing management. What an idea. Let's not flog the players to death so they keep getting injured. Groundbreaking stuff, especially at Millwall. Now, we are coming to the favourite part of the video. I know you're going to love this stuff. Here we go again. West Kingsdown. It's not dead. It's not dead as a dodo. It's slow as a sloth. I mentioned it before. Here we go. Sevenoaks District Council planning applications. We got a new one up today. This is a call cut, right? Details pursuant to Condition 5. Construction Environmental Management Plan. We gotta look after the animals, don't we, people? We love the animals. We need to look after them. All creatures, great and small, as Jesus once said. We need to look after those animals. So we've got Condition 5, we've got Condition 13, we've got Condition 10, and we've got Condition 8. And as I mentioned before, when I discussed all of these conditions before, this is a monumental undertaking that is being done here by the club and their partners who are working on this. Because this land has not been built on before, you have to jump through all of these red tape hoops before and during you're building anything there. You have to do an archaeological thing because, there might be something under there. So that needs to be done before you start building. They have to do little test trenches, is there something down here? And not only that, but obviously the situation with the land that we've got, Mill bought an ancient woodland as well. So next to where we're building the training ground, to the north of that, is an ancient woodland. Now, what lives in ancient woodland? All these lovely animals that live around. But the site where the thing is, where the training ground is going to be, obviously nothing's been going on there. So these animals have had the old full reign of it. So they're having a jolly old time. And that's about to come to an end. So what needs to know? You need to do an environmental management plan. And you have to have a good old look around and make sure before you start tearing in with the caterpillars and the diggers and stuff, all of that, the trucks and things, drilling and all of that, you need to have a look and clear out all the animals and, rehome them and move them around and let them know, hey, guys, you can't be here anymore. We've got a training ground to build. So let's have a look at this. So this is the application this is the letter, the covering letter that accompanies the SEMP. I'm going to call it SEMP. I write on behalf of Millwall Holdings and Athletic Company to fully discharge planning condition 5 attached to plan of permission approved on 28th of February 2023. This is 2 years ago, 2.5 years ago. Please find and enclose the following documents in support of this application. A Construction Environment Management Plan, June 2025. Bosh. Now, the condition is, prior to commencement of works, including site clearance, a Construction Environmental Management Plan will be submitted to and approved in writing by the local planning authority. The SEMP will be based on the recommendations in section 6.1 of the Ecological Appraisal Report and include the following, which I'm not going to read because that's a lot of stuff. You can pause it, you read it. Okay, let's move on. Right, so that's the letter and this is the report, the plan. This is the plan. Mill Training Ground, Falcon Road, West Kingsdown, Sevenoaks. It's only 20 pages, so don't shit your pants. It could be quite quick. Prepared in respect of Condition 5. And here we go. This is dated the 5th of June. So this has been going on. This is from a month ago. They handed it in to Sevenoaks on, I think, the 17th of June. And they've just validated. So you send this into the planning committee, they have a look at it and they say, yeah, this seems alright. They rubber stamp it and they validate it and then it needs to be approved. So someone is looking at this and they're going to approve it, I think, by the end of the month. And this was written up by Aspect Ecology. So if you need this kind of thing done, here's a company here based in Banbury, Oxfordshire. Let's have a look at this then. It keeps moving left and right. That's not good. Don't want that. They got some background. So here's the planning thing that's been the planning permission that was granted by Sevenoaks District Council, and then here's the condition 5, which we just saw. You got to do all this stuff. So what you do, they tell you this is what you need to do, and then you need to do a plan to follow through with all the things that they told you that you need to do. And this is the plan, the report, etc., the SEMP. Yeah. Now, this is interesting. It's redacted. Why is it redacted? Why is it redacted? Well, because of the Wildlife and Countryside Act 1981 and various other acts of law, there are some species that exist in this land that you are not to know where their habitats are. I think one of those is a red kite, although I don't know that this is a red kite. It could be anything. There are several, mostly birds of prey. And that's due to, the old farmers. They don't like the birds of prey. They, when they're hungry, they're flying around and they fly down and pick up a lamb or two for Sunday roast, a bit of dinner, a nice bit of lamb. Who doesn't love a bit of lamb leg? But farmers not too happy about that because they want to be paid. And the birds of prey don't have any money. They just take it and they don't pay. So yeah, there has been instances of nests being discovered and eggs being smashed. And we don't like that, do we? We don't like that, people. You know, we don't like that. We love our animals. So yeah, there is a risk of construction activities adversely impacting on-site and adjacent habitats. So again, as I said, there is an ancient woodland that Millwall now own, that they are responsible for, which, you know, I'm sure there's a load of animals living in it. And they probably come down south to the area that they're going to build for all kinds of things, you know. Eating, fucking, all kinds of shit. So, damage to retained trees through compaction of roots as a result of tracking on plant storage. Yeah, so you might damage the tree roots. That's not good. Damage to trees just by, you know, knocking it over. I don't know if you walk around and you see your fucking lamppost leaning at 45 degrees. Well, how does that happen? Because some fucking lorry smashed into it and then driven off. There's loads of them around here. Loads of them. Damage to the on-site and adjacent hedgerows through dust. Yeah, if the dust gets on the leaves, that covers up the leaves. It stops them from getting the sunlight because, you know, they're covered in dust. That's not good. Destruction of a previously unidentified bat roost during tree felling. I don't think there's going to be a lot of tree felling. I think actually they're going to be planting a lot of trees, but they must be knocking down 1 or 2 trees because it's listed here. Destruction of nocturnal fauna, commuting and foraging activity through increased on-site lighting during construction. Yeah, blinding the bats. Well, but they are blind anyway, aren't they? But I guess, you know, they're used to it being dark. They don't like, what's all this fucking, where all these lights come from? Trapping injury of redacted, nudge nudge, hedgehogs, Erinaeus europaeus, the dormus, Muscardinus avelionaris, and other small mammals during construction. So I imagine that the redacted is another small mammal, which I think is either a shrew or a vole. So yeah. Destruction of dormouse nests during vegetation clearance. Trapping injury of reptiles during construction, and destruction of birds' nests during vegetation clearance. Would that be like ground nesting birds? I imagine. What? Birds nest on the ground. Do partridges nest on the ground? I don't know about that. Ducks do, don't they? I know they do. Another like waterfowl, but I don't think there's any water around here. So this is what they're going to do. In order to mitigate against what you've just seen, they're going to have someone in charge of it, so a responsible person, the site manager, or they will appoint a person. So the site manager will take it upon himself, or he will nominate someone to deal with that. Yeah, so you can see all of that stuff. Ecological clerk of works. Prior to the commencement of works, the developer shall be responsible for appointing a suitably qualified and experienced ecologist as an ecological or clerk of works. The ecological clerk of works will be responsible for ensuring the following: pre-construction checks with regards to habitats and species, production and delivery of inductions, toolbooks, talks and communications to contractors as required. Provision of ecological supervision as required, monitoring of construction activities, compliance in respect of biodiversity, implementation of the agreed methodology for ecological works, advising on overseeing the construction of any mitigation features that are required as part of the project, including habitat creation. So here we go, you know. Moving them over. It's not just, if you move them, you got to make them a new nest and give them another place to live. Installation of specific structures for species mitigation and enhancement as specified within Aspect Ecology's appraisal dated July 2022. Completion of relevant documentation on an ongoing basis. So they are going to have protection zones. The habitats of ecological value at the site comprise a retained on-site hedgerows, trees, priority habitat woodland, and the adjacent off-site ancient woodland that I previously mentioned. Biodiversity protection zones will be set up around the above habitats. The following measures are to be implemented to protect those zones during construction. Protective fencing. So they found zones where there's a lot of animals living, and these zones aren't due to be built on. So they're going to kind of fence them in to protect them while the building's going on, and then later on remove the fencing, so that they don't mess with them. As mentioned, yada yada yada, all of that stuff. Pollution prevention. In order to safeguard the biodiversity protection zones, the following dust control and abatement measures will be implemented during construction. Machinery, fuel and chemical storage shall not be located close to the protection zones. Dust barrier screens. Surfaces and dusty activities will be damped down with wet cleaning methods or mechanical road sweepers during periods of dry weather. All relevant loads entering and leaving the site will be covered. Stockpiles of material shall exist for the shortest possible period of time and be kept away from the zones. Any fires will only be lit in secure compounds away from the zones and not allowed to remain lit during the night. Why would they have fires? Pollution prevention, as in water quality. Best management practice. The spillage kits, absorbent materials will be on hand just in case. I guess that's cool. They have a fuel leak or an oil leak or something like that. And that these storage areas for chemicals and fuels will be well away from the zones. Prior agreement of the sewage undertaker, silty water should be disposed of to the foul sewer or via another suitable form, as in a tanker. I guess they'll be using portable toilets, I would imagine. Water washing of vehicles, particularly those carrying fresh concrete and cement, will be carried out in a contained area as far away from the zones as possible. Refueling of plant will take place in a designated area on an impermeable surface. Cool. Faunal protection measures. Obviously, you have flora and faunal. So faunal, these are the animals that we love. The habitats within the site support a number of protected species. So the following measures will be implemented to safeguard those species. With reptiles, it's vegetation clearance. There is a low population of common lizards there. Oh, that's nice. So to avoid any offences under the relevant legislation, safeguards will be implemented during the vegetation clearance. Prior to the commencements, someone's going to deliver a talk to everyone who's going to be working there. And it's going to be outline the legislation and to tell them what they do if they see one of these lizards or reptiles. Depending on the prevailing management at the time of the works, the grassland margins will be trimmed during the active herptile season, approximately March to October inclusive, and during suitable weather conditions, temperatures above 10 degrees with no rain. Obviously, they're cold-blooded? So when they only fuck around when it's hot. They don't. If it's cold, you don't see them. The grassland will be cut to a short height so as to encourage any reptiles and amphibians to disperse. So basically, you cut the grass low before you do anything, and they're exposed, and they don't want to be exposed, so they'll go to the longer grass, which is where you want them to be. So they'll just piss off over there. Prior to the cut, a walkover by the ECOW will be completed. Streaming works of areas where grasslands is tussocky may cover natural habitat will be supervised. Any log piles or areas of potential refuge for reptiles will be dismantled by hand under ecological supervision. So if you leave materials around, especially like natural materials like stone or wood, they're going to get in there because they think, hey, this is nice, a place to live. And then you go, no, we are using this to build our lovely new training ground. Bats. The lighting. For the bats, it's the lighting. Site lighting and signage will be provided to enable the safety and security of the construction site. This will be used for the shortest duration necessary to complete the task, and we focus on the working area. It will be at a minimum luminosity necessary and avoid illumination of retained woodland and hedgerows and retained tree, which have been identified to exhibit features of potential support roosting bats. Motion sensors will also be used to limit the time the lighting is operational, and this will minimise potential disturbance from lighting on bats and other nocturnal fauna such as dormice. And with the dormice, it's vegetation clearance again, but I think this isn't grassland, it's the hedgerows and the bramble scrub and things like that. Prior to work, they're going to check for dormice nests, and then the redacted, which is probably shrews or voles or something like that. Now here's the thing, any trenches or deep pits within the site that be left open overnight will be provided with a means of escape should a wild mammal enter, or maybe a little naughty child coming onto site. This could simply be in the form of a roughened plank of wood placed in the trench as a ramp to the surface. And this is particularly important if the trench fills with water. Any exposed pipes will be blanked off at the end of the day to stop them from getting in. You don't want them climbing into like the sewer pipe that you haven't fully, capped off yet. Any trenches pits will be inspected each morning to ensure no wild mammals have become trapped overnight. Well, you left them a plank. If they haven't figured it out, like they deserve to be trapped there. Like bloody hell, there's a plank there, mate. Well, use the plank. Then we've got redacted again, so they can't even mention what that is. Storage of any chemicals, etc., so they can't knock it over. Piles of material should be dismantled and removed by hand. Check for hedgehogs. This is what they say. They say this every bonfire season, don't they? Like, if you build your bonfire and you leave it overnight, if you do it like the day before, or whatever, or like a few days before, you got to check it before you light it on fire, because the fucking hedgehogs climb in there, and you're having roast hedgehog. Fires will only be lit in secure compounds and not allowed to remain lit during the night. Any material to dispose of by burning. Oh, that's what the fires are for. They're going to burn the vegetation. Rather than... Hang on, how's that work? I've got to fucking pour through my rubbish and fucking compost all this shit, and I get fined if I don't. But they're not allowed... They're not forced to compost their stuff from this. They're allowed to burn it. What's that all about? Yeah. Again, just what I mentioned about if you pile up waste in a pile that you're going to burn, if you do it before, the hedgehogs might get in there, and that's literally what it says there. Unsecured food and litter will not be left within the working area overnight. Nesting birds, vegetation clearance. Any clearance of suitable bird nesting habitats such as trees, hedgerows and scrub shall ideally be undertaken outside of the bird nesting season, outside of March to August inclusive. Some bird nesting seasons from March to August. So if you're doing it over the winter, so this is the thing. The nature of the job that we've got here, ecologically, it's best to do it over the winter. But you build anything over the winter, you have very little, daylight hours to do the job. Even if it is daylight, it might be dark if it's overclouded or rainy, and it obviously rains a lot as well. But if you do it in the summer or in the spring or in the autumn, then you've got birds nesting and stuff like that. Any active nests identified would then need to be cordoned off with a 10-metre barrier and protected until the nest is no longer in active use. So if they want to build something somewhere but there's a nest there, they have to barrier off the nest, let them do their business like they've basically a nest. You got the eggs. They sit on the eggs. The eggs hatch. The babies get fed, and then the babies grow up and fuck off. So you have to leave the nest alone until that happens, and then you can get in there. And I would imagine you would steal the nest, remove it. So there you go. And they've got a nice little graph basically summing up what we've just seen. Yeah. So yeah. This is what they have to do. This is why it's taking so long. We're 2.5 years in, and they're only just now doing all of this, stuff that they have to do. And how much is this costing? Like, this is a lot of money to do all of this stuff. So yeah, it's insane. So here we go. We've got a nice little map that we can look at. So the site boundary, that's what we got. What would you say that was? Like a teardrop shape. We got the tree protection fencing, which basically goes around the whole site. Okay. So they're going to fence in the whole site, it seems. That's the thin blue line. Retained woodland is the green areas. So the retained woodland, the ancient woodland is to the north, and then there's to the east. There's obviously a sound barrier between the motorway. Is that the M25 or is it the M20? Something like that. And obviously there's woodland to the south. Ancient woodland is up to the north. What have we got? Retained hedgerow, which is green with dark dots in the middle of it. So that's what these are. On the left and right, the dark green and blue thick lines, and there's some down here on the southwest as well. None on the south. We've got a retained tree with potential to support roosting bats. One tree. The one tree. The bat tree. There. Batman. It's right there. Right at the southern tip. Literally on the road. Okay. Faunal protection measures. Grassland habitat to be subject to destructive search under ecological supervision to safeguard reptiles. And that is where that's basically looks like on the edges. So it looks like maybe a 10-meter barrier all the way round, and then it goes into where this hashed. The hashed things, there's 3 areas. One which looks like by the gate. There's one down here as well. So this one where this tree is that goes up. The one over here, the one over here, the one that looks like tartan. And I think there's some in the middle as well. You can barely see them. They look like kind of stains. That says suitable dormouse habitat to be cleared under ecological supervision following receipt of the European Protected Species Licence from Natural England. So we have to get a licence from Natural England to be able to do this. So hopefully they give us that, because if they don't, then what we're going to do. But yeah, so this is it. This is the hoops that we got to jump through. So yeah, these are the laws. They've even redacted the law, which I would assume is what, the Bird of Prey Act or something like that. Wildlife and Countryside Act 1981, as amended, of course. Hedgerows Regulations 1997. Countryside and Rights of Way Act for England and Wales 2000. Natural Environment and Rural Communities Act 2006. Conservation of Habitats and Species Regulation 2017. So yeah, so it says here, section 1, number 7, under section 1 of the Wildlife and Countryside Act 1981, all wild birds are protected, such that is an offence to intentionally kill, injure or take any wild bird, take, damage or destroy the nest of any wild bird whilst in use or being built, take or destroy an egg of any wild bird. And the asterisk says that the nests of birds that reuse their nests are listed under Schedule ZA1, i.e. Golden Eagle, are protected against taking damage or destruction, irrespective of whether they are in use or not. So again, if there's a golden eagle there, you can't move the nest. But as we just said, if they find the nest, they're gonna have to put a barrier around it, wait for the babies to grow up, hatch and grow up, and then fuck off, and then they could destroy the nest. But if it's a golden eagle or some other birds that reuse the nest, they're not allowed to do that. Etc. etc. And then it's so secret they've blanked it out here. This is the acts and the other acts. So it just goes on and on and on. But so yeah, it is moving forward, ladies and gentlemen. It is moving forward slowly but surely. It's moving forward. We are getting there. It is going ahead. It hasn't been cancelled. They haven't, changed their minds. They're not doing anything else. So it is what it is. It's slowly and methodically being worked on. There's a lot to get through, and they're getting on with it step by step. And it's great to see. And I'll keep you updated all the way along until they cut the ribbon on it. So thank you for watching, and goodbye.